One, hey, two, hey, one, hey, two, hey, three, hey, four, hey, ho, hey, ho. Everybody get up. Ho, hey, ho. Everybody get up.
Hello, Dark Side family.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome to another episode of Actors from the Dark Side. I'm Rav'n Moon, an actor with passion.
And I'm LaDios Muhammad, an actor with purpose. Thank you so much for sliding through.
Yes, we have a very special episode today. Today we went to the movie theater and we saw the movie Respect, all about Aretha Franklin and her life. Wow.
But before we get started, I just want to say shouts out to the cast and crew of Womack Films who did the short Prudence. They won 3 awards.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Didn't you get Best Leading Actress?
Yeah. It was in a film festival, and I'm super stoked about this. Okay, hold on. It was a surprise. And I've never heard of this film festival, but it's called Without Your Head. There was 3 awards. Mine was the Betsy Palmer Award, and I was Best Film Female Performer. So I'm like, super stoked! All right, if you want to know more, go to my Insta, and we'll talk about that later. And look for the film festival coming to Colorado next month in Fort Collins. Prudence, yes. Okay.
Nice. That's exciting.
I know.
Hey, that's awesome. Right go, LaDios. And congrats on that award.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Amazing.
Okay. So, yes! Okay, my first time back in the theater, we went to AMC on 8th and Colorado. It's a brand new theater, amazing seats. I loved it.
Super nice.
Yes, they have a bar.
Yeah, full bar and
Full bar.
Yeah, reclining seats, all the good stuff that you need.
Yes.
So yeah,
All right.
definitely check it out.
So, we are doing the famous review on Respect, the biopic about Aretha Franklin, right?
So good. Yes,
The late
absolutely.
great Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, shall we start with our cast of characters?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right.
All right, go ahead.
So the first person, of course, you know who's actually playing Aretha Franklin, the great, awesome Jennifer Hudson.
She was amazing, wasn't she?
Yes. And she actually sung all the songs. Did you know?
Yes, she was absolutely amazing.
Right?
Playing Aretha's first husband, Ted White, was Marlon Wayans, who really stood out to me. So yeah, he was amazing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then, oh my God, one of my favorites, Mary J. Blige, who plays
yes.
Dinah Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mary J. Blige is on her game right now.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
I'm loving her.
Small role, but man, was it powerful and impactful. So that was great. Then we had Audra McDonald, who played Aretha Franklin's mother.
Barbara Franklin.
Yes, Barbara Franklin.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, she's been in a lot. Everybody, if you don't know, you know. Okay, so this one was interesting. I was very surprised to see Haley Kilgore. She played Carolyn Franklin, Aretha Franklin's sister, also known as Jukebox in Raising Kanan. So if you want to see her in a whole different role, she was amazing. Yes.
I'll have to check that out.
Yep.
And then we had Heather Headley, who played Sierra Ward, who was also, was she also a sister or just a backup singer?
I won't say, she said the names are different, so I thought she was a sister.
Okay.
So maybe, but she was one of her backup singers. But Heather Headley, shouts out to you. Heather Headley is a big R&B singer.
Yeah.
Okay, then we had Lodrick D. Collins. Now, it was interesting to see him. He's on the Oval. Tyler Perry's the Oval, if you didn't know. But he played Smokey Robinson. Very small role, but I did see him.
Nice. And then we had Mark Maron, who played Jerry Wexler, who was a producer. I have a thing with Mark Maron that goes back to the early 2000s, because he used to do a radio show called Morning Sedition, which was super liberal, like more liberal than anything that I've ever heard, and I just used to love him. So
Then we have Albert Jones, who plays Ken Cunningham, another love interest by Aretha Franklin. So, as you guys know, here are all the characters. We showed them at the top. Here's their pictures. They look amazing. And we're going to get and dive into it.
Yeah.
All right. What you got? So, tell me what you thought.
It was amazing. So number one, I had no idea of Aretha's struggles from early childhood, dealing with alcoholism, all of these things. So yeah, so I was very surprised. It was very touching. Forrest Whitaker stood out as her father.
Yes.
I wasn't aware of how connected Her family was through the church, so Dinah Washington, and gosh, I can't even think of some.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King. Yeah, there were a ton of stars. Ella Fitzgerald. They would all come to her house and have these big parties. So that was a very interesting thing to see, because I didn't know that she was so connected. She was already royalty in terms of soul when she was just a kid, it looked like, you know? Yeah, so that was really cool.
And we forgot to say, Forrest Whitaker is one of the main characters who plays her father, who is the minister.
Yes, he was amazing.
How could I forget?
He was
But now I too was quite surprised of all of her passions and activisms and all of the awards that she got over the years. When I first ever was exposed to Aretha Franklin was in The Blues Brothers. And the movie The Blues Brothers. Did you ever see that?
I did, but I was a kid, so I don't really remember.
So that I remember her, and she did her Respect ensemble in there, and and I always remember You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman song. But I didn't really know her background, so all of this was new to me. Mm-hmm. I did know that I had read along the way that she was molested. I had read also she had a child at a very young age, which was 13. I did not know she had 4 children.
Yeah.
That I was very, that was new to me. I never knew she had 4 children. I believe I was aware that she was molested, but I did not realize she had such heavy demons, and so that was a little triggering for me.
Definitely. I know for me, my exposure to Aretha was, she was still making songs in the 80s and stuff, so, Riding on the Freeway and those kind of things, like that was really what I knew. And then, of course, you have your standouts, Respect and all of that, so, I feel kind of like, geez, I missed out, because she was such an amazing artist, and she brought so much to the table. I was aware of her activism, but seeing it in this light in the movie was really eye-opening, I'd say, it was really amazing. I think everybody should go out and see it. I don't want to give too much away, because I want you to go and see it.
Oh, I'm giving it away.
She's going to give it away. But it was interesting seeing how she kind of blocked out some of her trauma and then kind of played into the cycle of abuse again, like we learn in the film that her dad was probably abusive, but she never saw him like that, at least, in the early childhood of her life. And then she ends up attracting Ted White, who is this horribly abusive and controlling man. And I don't want to give too much away. That was very interesting, and hats off to you, Marlon Wayans, for really stepping away from comedy and coming into a really believable asshole role, if you will. But he was totally believable and totally.
He definitely played a very good villain, but also he was quite. I mean,
he was charming too.
Marlon Wayans was quite a charming, very attractive. I can see him in a very leading role. He was very romantic and dreamy, and I was very believable. Very suave. He had a very suave nature. I really enjoyed his presence. It just made me think how we get in relationships and how we cover each other. Because she had that abuse for a minute, but I mean, I got a little misty-eyed, when she says, "I'm done with you, I'm done." I got a little misty-eyed because he was like, "That's okay. You'll need me when your demons come around." And it just made me think about, like, we all have something that we try to repress. And I was a little bit there was some missing pieces in this movie that I just was like, okay, what happened with the parents? Yeah, we can draw our own conclusions that the father was abusive, but what happened to her mother?
Yeah.
Okay, and she obviously seemed and appeared like she was a singer. But you don't have a backstory on the mother, so I was really disappointed there was no real backstory. And to connect the dots was like, okay, you just come up and you have this pastor who has 4 daughters or 3 daughters and a son, and or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
No, I agree with you there. I was actually hoping that there would be some kind of, almost glimpse to her remembering her childhood trauma, where it would fill in those gaps for us, maybe seeing the argument that the mother and the father had that brought her to her breaking point or something like that, because you're right, you just didn't know. There were just missing pieces. Even with the mother dying, you're like, well, what happened? Did she commit suicide? Was it alcoholism? Was it, you just didn't get a clear picture on a lot of those things. The abuse even that she went through with the molestation. Yeah. It was very kind of, it happened, and then all of a sudden,
You see a flashback and she's pregnant.
And that's it. So you don't know if this was an abuser that abused her for years, that maybe this was going on under her father's nose and no one talked about it, or what. So there were a lot of gaps in that regard.
And that's a serious thing. I'm glad they put it in there. That's a serious thing, but what was triggering is she was 9 when this happened, and it was a family friend.
Yeah.
But what's so disturbing is how we do not say anything, because it apparently alluded that she had children by this molester. Two children by this molester. And that is traumatic in and of itself to me. And I know I don't know. I just found it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were having these large parties and everything, and, someone coming into a room, and how could you not know people sneaking into your daughter's room?
Right.
But it can happen, because it happened to me. I get it. But I'm just like, the fact that in the movie, she never told her boys who the father was.
Right.
At least we don't know, unless there's a book or a biography. But it was traumatic, because then you don't see it right away, but do you see a flashback of her being like young and 13-year-olds with a belly? And I'm like, what?
There was also a disconnect for me too, just in terms of I guess maybe the family depiction, in terms of like, there was always, okay, the mothers aren't there kind of thing. Yeah. It was like the mother wasn't there for her, like the mother would come and pick her up every 2 weeks maybe, or something like that.
So you
but
don't know if she's on
they
the
weren't
road.
there. They weren't there consistently. And then you see Jennifer Hudson Aretha Franklin grow up, and she's basically doing the same thing with her children.
Yep.
So it's always the grandmother that's raising the kids.
Big mama.
Yeah, so that was kind of a disconnect too, because I just didn't understand that. Like I didn't.
It's almost like that Tina Turner kind of thing.
Yeah.
Her mom left, and then Tina Turner, but Tina Turner did try to keep all her children. She tried.
Yes.
But I back in the day, I guess it was just meant for grandparents to raise their children's children. And I just didn't see the maternal connection with Aretha and her children, according to the picture.
Right.
How she really felt, I have no idea. But that was disturbing in and of itself to me, because I'm a mother. But this is her life. This is what they told us, and this is what we're giving you a review on.
So I like that you touched on Tina Turner, because I definitely thought of What's Love Got to Do with It. A couple of, Aretha finally gets to go on tour, and she gets to go on an international tour, and she's in Paris, and one of the interviewers says, "Oh, what do you think of the Time magazine article that came out?" And she's just like, "Oh, I haven't read it, but I'm so honored to be, on the cover of such a prestigious magazine." And, turns out that the magazine is kind of exploiting the fact that her husband beat her at a really nice hotel, and everybody saw it and all of that, and that was really interesting, seeing the husband kind of fly off and wanting to sue everybody, and Aretha tells him, "Well, who are you going to get to tell that you didn't do it, because everybody saw you do it," so that was really kind of remarkable, seeing her, kind of deal with her abusers and kind of make light. But it actually just goes really dark after that.
It's very dark.
That's when her inner demons really kind of take over.
Yeah.
And she starts going down this long road of alcoholism.
But what made me question is that it took the media to expose her relationship for her to actually stand up for herself.
Yeah.
I mean, because her husband was super jealous of her and very controlling. Who knows what his actual demons are, but why would you stay with someone like that, for so long? And then I also got that Aretha always cared about her image.
Yeah.
Always cared about her image, and she was always saying that her sisters were jealous of her, and in the movie.
Right.
Okay, I haven't read her autobiography, if there is one. So, in the movie, it was really, really, really dark after that. It was,
yeah.
And again, I felt very empty all the way to the end because I'm looking for when she performed for Obama.
Right.
President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. And I seen that. Did you see that performance? Well, they showed the clip. Yeah. They showed the clip at the end, but the actual performance is amazing. You can see it on YouTube. But, I mean, they just didn't give all of the gratitude, all the stuff, all the hard work that she did. And they just did the clips,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And so I was waiting for more. I felt like there was a cliffhanger, like, where's more?
Well, and that's a great point, LaDios, because I feel like she had maybe early half of her life where, she really struggled, and then she really became triumphant in her later years, and that's the Aretha I grew up with.
Right.
That's the Aretha that I knew. So it was really kind of a negative depiction, and really kind of, they brought out the ugly side of the diva, if you will, in a lot of times with this, the fights that she had with her sisters, those kind of things, falling off stage mid-performance.
I never knew that one.
Oh, it was really like gut-wrenching and heart-wrenching, but definitely not a positive depiction at all. So.
No, and we want to know the true story because you want to know the person behind the diva. I mean, I've heard stories, not even heard. I've seen things on YouTube about people who knew her. Like, she was definitely, you don't play with her when it came to business. When she performed, she was like, she never took a check, she always took cash. So they can pay her. And who was it that said, I cannot remember, it was another singer, and she said, I watched her, and they were like, she was like, I want my money, and they gave her $10,000 in cash. She said she stuffed it in her bra. I mean, there's so many dynamics of this woman that they didn't put into this movie. But in spite of, I'm not like incredibly disappointed. I did enjoy the acting.
Yes.
I did enjoy Jennifer Hudson. Her voice was very good. Like, she embodied it like Jamie Foxx did Ray. And, I felt it like Angela Davis did and Tina Turner. So I felt she delivered it. And she delivered it. She just delivered it very dark.
Yeah. And I mean, that's I don't even know if that was her... her judgment call, right? That's probably production and all of that, because the way, what they focused on in her story was the dark period of her life. And then they kind of wrap it up, I'd say, this movie probably goes from 1950 to about 1972. And like I said, I was waiting for more because, again, I wasn't born until 75. So I was waiting for that part of Aretha's career and life to be kind of highlighted. And instead it was just kind of like, okay, here's the gospel album that she did, which actually sold more sales than any of her other music. But it was kind of like, okay, let's just wrap a bow on it and be done with the story. But it was all
like,
really...
they didn't talk about how she was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so...
I mean,
how
they
she
made
got
clips,
the Pulitzer Prize. I mean, they did that at the end, but it's like... I personally... I know you don't like long movies. I personally could have sat there for another hour and seen all this beautiful work that she did.
Sure.
I mean, she had a complete advocacy that they did not even put into the film that we needed to know about. And I felt like very cheated.
They barely touched on it with Angela Davis and Martin Luther King's assassination.
Right.
But, I think there could have been so much more done there. So So yeah, it was really,
it was good.
It was a great experience.
It was great. Like I said, Marlon Wayans, you stole my heart.
He stole my heart too.
Jennifer Hudson, I'm so glad to see you again. You just thrilled me just like you did in Dreamgirls.
She's so good.
You know, Mary J. Blige, you know, I love you. You up also on Power, Power Book 2. I mean, you just making a stance for yourself. I've been following your acting career forever.
Do you think, LaDios, that there was too much attention given to like the producer and the Alabama band? I felt like that was a bit much and a little bit trite. Like, you know, I would have almost wanted more of her triumphant story versus all of the drama with her getting with this Alabama backup band, because they spent a lot of time with the Muscle Shoals guys. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think so I see where you're going with that. I'm a little bit on the other side of the fence, because that was the kind of like the climax of where it showed her husband's abusive tendencies, and that was also the climax that I guess in real life that was a real white band that she went to work with.
Okay,
and they showed that, you know, that's where she did her first hit. So the backstory is great. I mean, it didn't bother me too much. I even liked the banter that her and her husband had. That was interesting, but he was a little over the freaking top. Yeah. Marlon Wayans did due diligence. I'm saying, like, he was
great,
super jealous, super controlling. He was really a jerk in there, and I love that banter he did with the guy that owned the studio, and the guy, but they made him super calm. Now that I was a little bit questionable, because I'm wondering if someone from Alabama would really be taking that type of talk.
Oh my goodness,
that was not realistic to me in that time.
Yeah,
that part.
Yeah, that's what I was like,
throw it out the door.
Yeah,
let's get down and dirty. He know he wanted to call him the N-word.
So that was an interesting little highlight of her life, and I do see where you're saying that they did kind of show the true nature of her husband during those things, or those interactions, I should say. But like I said, I would have liked to see more on the back end, what she did after 72, even into the 80s.
Right.
So I thought she had some great songs in the 80s.
Gonna ride in the freeway.
She was, you know, for her being an older woman, you know, she was putting out really current music. And I love that. So she rolled with the punches all the way up until 2018, and that's beautiful. So I wish there might have just been a little bit more of that, because it was kind of stuck in the drama, but it was a great drama.
It made sense, because like she, you know, she did have some serious demons, and it's so sad, because back in the day people just didn't talk about things, and so because people don't talk, and what I love that, and they portrayed this very well, she wasn't a talker. She did everything through her music. Yeah. That was, remember, she went mute when her mom died. She didn't talk much. She wasn't one to be out, you know, vocalizing anything, except for when she became into her activism. But even still yet, she wasn't one of those, like, I want to do an interview. She was, I want my music to speak for itself. Yeah. So that I can see where her passion is, and that's some weird things about eccentric artists is, you know, they do things like that. I did definitely, I enjoyed the film. I just felt like I would have loved to have seen another hour or more, and they could have made it work. I was also confused on her second relationship, Ken Cunningham. I thought she was married to him. She wasn't. She was married 2 times. She was married to Ted White, which was Marlon Wayans, who played him, and then someone before him. After him. Gary Turman. And he's actually an actor. Yeah. I just seen him on something the other day. Sure. So that's where I'm saying, if they would have just expanded it a little bit instead of cutting it off at 72. I think she married Gary Thurman Turman at 78. So it's like, even if they just would have went a little bit further into the 80s so that we could have gotten more of a triumphant story. Like I said, the triumph was there, but it was kind of like, here, we're done. Yeah, like, here's all the great things that she did. Bye. I just knew they were going to put, and I just was looking for, they were going to put that clip of her performance
at the inauguration.
At the inauguration,
Yeah.
I was waiting for that, and I knew they were gonna. I thought they were gonna make it like show Jennifer Hudson doing it as well and clip it in with the original Aretha Franklin.
Right.
But and I guess that's what they did with Tina Turner because they clipped it in. I thought they were gonna do that, and they just took out all of the stuff because after she did her gospel album. Her fame and her peak of her career went up from there.
It did.
And that's what I wanted to see, like what
Yes.
happened next. So
Yeah, I guess that's where they did a great job with What's Love Got to Do with It.
Yes.
Is that they did the whole
She
story
got out.
and her whole life.
Yeah.
Not just this little, here's the bad shit that happened with her and Ike.
Yeah.
But,
they
just
showed
the
her
whole thing.
triumphing.
So, yes.
And I guess they tried to do it with the gospel album that she triumphed and returned back to, God and the Baptist church. But then all the good stuff that she did, and she was a contribution to society. She was a social activist. I mean, I did not know that. I did not know that. So, for the actors, and this is the actors I'm talking about is Marlon and Jennifer. Of course, Mary, you already in there, so you don't even need to know this. But all the actors to me were just believable. But I'm just focused on Jennifer Hudson and Marlon Wayans. They just blew me off the top. Particularly Marlon Wayans. I was like,
Yes.
you're so dreamy.
He was the absolute standout.
Yeah,
in this.
he just so I give them just an A. Like they were so good. The movie in totality, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but because I just felt like you missed, there was just too many loopholes. You missed some puzzling pieces. I don't know what happened to the mom. I don't know. They just did not put her in the best light to me.
Yeah.
You just seen her first. She had 2 children by an unknown person. She gets with this guy that her first husband has a baby. She leaves. She gets with another guy. She has a baby. There's so much more to her life. So I'm gonna give it. I'm sorry, a B-.
Wow. Yep. This is going to be the first time people write this down. We have the same grade. First time ever.
B-.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm there with you,
Yeah.
and I concur with you about the acting. I give everybody an A,
Yes.
maybe an A plus.
There
I
you
love
go.
the acting; that was great, but there were just too many holes in the storyline for me that I walked away kind of confused
Yes.
and a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to see more of the good stuff that happened in her life. So, but for the drama and all of that, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
Everybody should go and see this movie. It's so kind of informative and telling. Good B-.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we got. That's what we got for you. So it's out. Respect with Jennifer Hudson and Marlon Wayans. Go check it out. It's at your local theaters. I'm sure it'll be on streaming sometime in the next 3 weeks, so you better go see it soon.
Definitely.
You got any closing remarks?
Hey, get out there and live your life right now if you can.
Until next time, you don't have to be asleep to dream, so get up and get out and do something for yourself. I'm LaDios Muhammad, an actor with purpose.
And I'm Rav'n, an actor with passion.
And we are actors
From the dark side.